Hey, welcome everyone. Just want to say thank you for joining. Click on if you, if you're watching the repeat. Let me know where you're watching from. Just helping us, me and the team, I suppose, reach more men like you. So, hey, on the back of this week's Cornermen conversations, the email that went out. Finding when you've found your edge, okay? The week before was finding your edge. When you've found it, what do you do? And just even thinking, I mean, while we're waiting for people to jump on the lives and what have you, I'd love to know what you think, because I had a couple of team members say to me, Gav, these shirts you're wearing, it's not on brand. I don't know what the brand. I don't know what the brand is, but man, I went from even last year. I remember when I left Australia, I had 17 suits, and if you've been following me for a while, I used to have a big moustache, the ringmaster. Hey, but these days, man, I'm in the middle of the Mediterranean on Gozo, man. This awesome island. So, man, this is a Mediterranean shirt. So I'm in the Mediterranean, and I was talking to the team, and they're sort of having to go, hey, you got to lift your game with these shirts. But I thought, man, next year we look like we're gonna do some inner circle work with some of our men in Vanuatu, and I love what they wear there. And then we go to Mexico. Man, I'm going to be dressed like a Mexican. And then this time next year, we're probably going to be in Africa, okay? So who knows what I'm going to be wearing. Hey, man alive, be yourself, everyone else is taken. So thanks for leave us a comment. You guys on YouTube, in the group, leave us a comment. Tell me something amazing. John A. Champion, good to see you, buddy. Terry, Kieran, all right. Mighty men everywhere. So once you've found your edge, what do you do? What does that look like? And I've got to tell you, man, probably you've heard me say, particularly in the email, man, if you haven't found your edge, what your limits are, good chance you're going to be living in a fantasy, thinking you're something you're not, or thinking you're not good enough, but you really are, or even thinking you're better than you are. Okay, so Jace from Melbourne, good to see you. Mick from the Gold Coast, thanks for jumping on, man. So when you've found your edge, then what do you do? Hey, leave me a comment if you've found your edge, like you thought, man, I can't do this no more. I'm done. You found yourself getting an 8 count in your business. They're counting you out. Or maybe it's in a relationship, or maybe it was in the ring. I don't know. We've got to be, for me, and if I give anyone any advice, I would say, man, test things. Do things to test yourself. And even, I think about when one of my sons, my eldest son, years ago, maybe 10 years ago, I reckon, he started doing a bit of jiu-jitsu, right? And he started showing me the moves. And I'm, at that time, boxing gym, men everywhere, like I was really focused, like I always have been on the mission. But I remember him showing me these moves, and he said to me, tap when it's too much. So he had me in a chokehold, right? And I've been conditioned. I grew up with my dad, with the culture I grew up in. You never tap out. Tapping out is not an option. So I remember passing out on the lounge room floor. And him going, are you all right? Are you all right? And I'm going, what happened? It went black. But that's just an example of what do you do when you find your limit. Because my theory was you don't ever tap out. You don't surrender. You don't back down. You don't take no for an answer. But what do you do when you find yourself in a position where, man, I'm done? Because, over the last umpteen while, I remember there was times where I could have stepped back and thought, hang on, what's a better strategy here? I'm hitting the wall. Things aren't moving. Things aren't shifting. You do what you do what you've always done. You're going to get what you always got. We've got to improve and grow. So, but even last night, man, this is real time here. I actually, since I've been here in Gozo, there's a dojo down the road, Francois. He's a champion fella, French fella. Two-time European champion, so he's been doing these classes. So I've been going down there with one of my other sons and just learning, man. And one of the principles is you got to tap out to then readjust what you're doing. Because if you and last night I got tapped out with a leg lock. I got that, but it's funny because, well, when I say funny, there's a couple of blokes there that are beginners like me, and probably, they've done some other things, so we can kind of, I suppose, half kind of get our footing and handle ourselves. But if you don't have the skill, and that's when you need a Francois, a coach, a cornerman who's an expert in that field, in that move, in that leg lock, in that position, so that and that's the whole idea with these emails going out, with these lives that we're doing, is to have these conversations. What do you do when you tap out? Because or when you feel like I'm done? Because this is what I've seen, and I've experienced it myself in past years. You get under pressure, and so you pull back and you try and work it out yourself. You try and work it out yourself. And I mean, if you've heard me before, you've probably heard me talk about the early days as an amateur boxer, getting beaten up, feeling like I'm fighting three blokes, I'm getting hit that much. And then the cornerman says, step to your right, and of course it worked. Step to the right, come back with the right hand. Do it again and again. All of a sudden, turn the whole fight around. So I learned that day a cornerman can see what I can't. I've got a Francois at the moment teaching me this jiu-jitsu. Man, it's torture. In a good way. I don't know why we have to train for 2 hours, but I just do what the coach says, man. So it's great. And I think, when it comes to, and this might be, probably another message, but learning something for the first time, doing something for the first time, learning something you don't know how to do is just a great way, I think, for most of us to remember, hey, man, I don't have it all together. I don't have every move. I don't know what to do at times. I remember the first time, 6 months ago, say, when at the end of the session they said, let's do some sparring. I went, sparring? The only sparring I know was to flip and get under and come back. But it's a different art. It's a different way of doing things. You do things when you've had enough. Tap, all right, reset. How do I improve? And I suppose, like, what do you do? And in my Man Alive ebook, one of the tasks, and particularly in the Facebook group, a lot of new men have come into the group lately, which is they've been added by other mates, which is fantastic. Thank you, men. Keep adding men to this group that you think they're going to get some value out of it. Anyway, in that group, there's one spot in that book. It's like 21 days of something positive, and obviously a positive action. One of those actions is, and this is what you do if you practice it before you get tapped out, it'll become more natural. And one of the tasks is to actually ask 3 men, what are your strengths? Like, what are your strengths? Because, particularly when we get in a spot where we're operating out of our weaknesses, Because, that's why we need to say, hey, man, you're operating out of your, some areas of my life, I'm a 2 out of 10. Some areas of my life, I'm a 5 out of 10. Some areas of my life, I'm like a 9. I'm on mission. I'm operating in my gift, my talent. Things come easy. I can do things instinctively, whereas if I'm operating at the things that I'm a 2 out of 10, man, life is going to be one long, hard march, opposed to spending more time doing the things that I'm naturally good at. And when you're in a fight, because life is a fight, we want to be operating. I believe, I endeavor to spend 80% of my time doing the things that I'm naturally good at. Things that come not easy to me, but things that I'm passionate about. That is things that are worth going through the hardship, But thank God I've had some good men in my life to say, hey, Gav, have you thought about turning left instead of right? And it saved me a lot of pain. So by doing that, and this masculine journey is about action, and I'm going to say, to every man listening to the recording, maybe jot down a couple of men and just ask, what are your strengths? People that have maybe known, not people that have known you for 15 minutes, people that have maybe known you for a couple of years, maybe a couple of decades, maybe since you were a boy, if you could ask somebody like that, man, because, man, it's we need to be operating out of our strengths, okay? So when you get tapped out, when hard times come, the reason for that is it's not as hard to ask, hey, I'm doing it, I'm struggling here. What do I need to do? What would you suggest? So when you find your limits, you need to have those men. So this is a thing, maybe most of us, I don't know, maybe most of us are doing fantastic right now. So now's a good time to ask. 3 men, hey, what are some strengths in my character, in my makeup? And if you're not traveling so hot, well, now's a good time to ask. How am I doing? So that's a task. So what do we do when we get tapped out? We ask for help. What do you do when you find your limit? You ask for help. You look at, hey, what can you see that I can't? So gentlemen, I'm hoping you're getting some value out of this. If you are, leave me a comment, add some men to the group, maybe on YouTube, share this with somebody who you know will benefit from. And particularly if you're not getting those emails on Tuesday, find a way, man. I'm not hard to find. Shoot me your email address so we can get that to you so you can get it. So if there are any questions, man, particularly you fellas on Facebook, leave me a comment. I think that's about it, gentlemen. I can't wait. This is what I would love. This is what I would love. I would love you men that are in the group. Do a post in the group on the conversation you have with somebody. On the conversation when you ask 3 men. Maybe you start with 1. Hey, but it's good if you get 3, because the reason I say ask 3 men, because you might start to see some similar things, people saying similar things. And if 3 people who you trust and like are saying the same thing, maybe it's true. Maybe that might just shift how you're seeing yourself. Maybe you might remember that next time you're going through a bit of a hard time, thinking, oh, no, I am more than a conqueror. I am an overcomer. I am tough enough. If people are saying that, man, maybe we should be starting to say that to ourselves. So men in the group, do a post. Let me know how you go with these conversations. Why? It will inspire other men to do the same. And of course, there's that option there. If you want to invest in that 21 days, that ebook, goodness sake, go ahead. GavinTop.com, get to the link. So, all right, gentlemen. Hey, I got to go and change the world. Over and out. Here we go. YouTube, thank you very much. Jump in the Facebook group if you're up for it, because there's a lot of engagement, a lot of interaction. You're going to be inspired by a lot of men in that group. So you YouTubers, jump into it.